Hi everyone, and welcome back in part 4 of this section, the primitive data types, floating points. In the last video, we ended with our balance 1 trillion. Okay, but what if your young brother, who have only $5.5, wanted to store his balance in a variable too? Which data type is suitable for his balance? So let's try the data type integer. So let's make a new variable of type integer, and let's name it brother balance and equals to 5.5, and don't forget the semicolon, and let's change the print statement to print the value of the variable name brother balance instead of my balance. So let's select that, right click and copy and delete that, and right click here and paste. And now, if we run the program, we expect that the program will print the value stored in that variable name, which is brother balance. And now, if we run the program, we expect that the program will print the value stored in that variable name, which is 5.5. So let's hit run and see. Ouch, an error. Why is that? That's because the data type integer is only for storing integers, but it cannot store values with decimals or fractions, or also called floating points. So which data type is suitable to store fractions or decimal numbers? In the last video, we have mentioned the data types that could store integers, and mentioned its different sizes, which are byte, short, int, and long. But what if we have some fractions or decimal points? So we have another category of primitive data types, which are floating points, which is used to store fraction numbers as 5.5, 10.8, and much more. Where the same as integers data types, the floating point category has two sizes of boxes or data types, which are float and double. Where the same as integers, the difference between float and double data types is the size it can hold. But the two types really holds wide range of numbers. However, the type of a bit larger size, which is double, is mostly used. And the reason for that is for fractions or floating point values. As we have more numbers after the decimal point, the more precise the value is. So for that reason, the data type double, which has a bit larger size, is mostly used rather than the float data type, even if the values to be stored are too small. And to store a value of data type float or double, the same as integers data types, you have the data type, then the variable name, then the value. But remember, the long data type, we end the number with the letter L to inform Java that the value of type long. And the same for the float data type, you have to end the value with the letter F, either in uppercase or lowercase. And the same for double data type, you have to end the number with the letter D, either in lowercase or uppercase. But for the double data type, it is optional to include the D letter, since the double is mostly used in Java, so Java makes its usage easy so you can write the value without the letter D at the end. So now back to our example. So if we wanna save this 5.5 value, so we have to store it in a variable either of data type float or double. But since we mentioned that the double data type is the mostly used for easy precision, so let's change that integer data type to be double instead. So let's delete that and replace it with the double data type. And as we mentioned, at the end of the number of type double, we can include the letter D either in lowercase or uppercase, or we can leave it as it is, since the letter D for the data type double is optional. So if we leave it as it is and try to print the value stored in that variable brother balance, it must print that value 5.5. And also we can see the red line here is gone, and that's maybe a sign for us that the variable data type is right. So now let's try to run the program again and see. And yes, it works. And that means the data type double is suitable for fractions or decimal numbers. Okay, so far so good. And see you in the next video.